In today's video, I'm going to be discussing a very important topic, especially for new Amazon sellers, and that topic is how you can sell any brand on Amazon, or at least any brand that you will be able to sell.
Reezy Resells. Follow the hustle.
Just to start off, you need to know that as a new Amazon seller, it is much more difficult for you to get approved to sell brands. However, once you've sold 100 to 200 items or made a few $1,000s on the platform, it becomes infinitely easier for you to get approved. I'm talking brands you couldn't get at all, you will get with a flick of your wrist, snap of your fingers. It'd be super easy. So let's just get into the different levels of brand gating and how you can get ungated to sell those brands. So the very first thing you need to know is that when you scan an item and it says you're restricted or you're unable to sell that brand, you should be able to request permission to sell that brand. If you cannot request, that means, at least for now, that you cannot get approved no matter what. It means nobody can get approved, and that is what's known as a hard gate. Hard-gated brands are essentially locked out for everyone until they open back up and start taking applications again. Brands go in and out of hard gating, and you should also know that if someone was approved before the hard gating, usually they retain the ability to sell the brand after the hard gating, which is very, very important to know. So next off, we have my favorite category of ungating, and that is going to be auto ungating. So what these are is these are items that when you scan them, it says you're not allowed to sell them, but you are allowed to request permission to sell them. However, when you request permission, all that happens is it just basically goes, congratulations, you've been approved to sell this brand, and then you can sell it. That is a straight up full automatic ungate, and that will happen to you more and more as you gain more tenure on the platform. Now, there is another type of auto ungate that will present you with a 5 or so question quiz thingy before you can actually get automatically approved. It is common sense. Just pick the questions that are the obvious right answers. And if you get it wrong, don't worry, you can change your answers. But anyways, that's also ungating. But it comes with a little survey that you have to acknowledge before you get auto ungated. So the next category is actually called soft gated. So these are brands that you're not allowed to sell, but you do have permission to, you have the ability to request permission to sell them, right? So soft gated means you can get it. But inside of soft gating, there's actually two types. Now, when you need to submit for approval of a brand, usually it says you need to purchase from an authorized supplier and you need to purchase at least 10 units. Sometimes it says 100, but for most brands, it's 10 units. And that's what I'm going to be talking about right now. Now, don't get it twisted and think you need to get a distributor or a wholesaler. That's not what you need. You can use a receipt from Target.com or from Kohl's website to get approved for those items. Now, you need, I just called it a receipt, but really what you want is an invoice, or at least something that looks like an invoice. And those two places are not the only places where you can purchase 10 units of a brand to get a document that you can submit to Amazon to get approved for. There is more websites than you could ever think of. But instead of wondering whether or not a website will work, you need to know, you need to make sure it has these things on it. It needs to clearly list the products and the quantity. So if the item line doesn't clearly prove that that's the item, it's not going to work. You also need to make sure that it has the name of the company you purchased it from and their shipping address, as well as your information, your name and address, as it matches your Amazon account. If none of that stuff is there, or if only some of it's there, don't expect to get approved. You might get approved, but don't expect to get approved. That is the requirement. And you can get an invoice from inside your Target.com account. The Kohl's order summary will work as well. And many other websites will work. So, for example, during the pandemic, I needed to get approved for Logitech, and I was able to do so from Logitech.com, purchasing 10 privacy covers for their webcams, which are actually only 99 cents a piece. So that worked out really, really good. That is a super cheap ungate. But as long as the place you're purchasing from is a legitimate supplier, they're not selling counterfeits, they're not scammers, and they have that information, you should be able to get approved. Now, sometimes what you get from a supplier like soccer.com, which is a good athletic supplier, is not exactly what you want, But if you just reply to them in email or in customer support and request an invoice for record keeping purposes or for business purposes, which is very common, they will give you an invoice that you can then use to get approved to sell on Amazon. What up, what up? Intermission Reezy here. And I just want to let you guys know that if you're looking for someone to mentor or guide you in this Amazon journey, this online e-commerce journey, I got you. I started the Reselling Academy last year, which is my private mentorship academy where I help people go from zero experience on Amazon to having their first $10,000 month on Amazon and beyond. In the last year, we have had a handful of students do over $100,000 in sales in their first year. The results are in, and it is unquestionable. If that's you and you want to work with me, please click the survey link in the description and we can get down to business. Let's get back to the video. Now, there is another type of soft gating that I mentioned earlier, and I kind of glossed over it, and I want you to know this because this is incredibly important, and not many people are going to tell you this at all. So half or more of all soft-gated brands will actually automatically approve you no matter what you submit as the invoice. No humans are looking at it. So what you're going to do is check the boxes, drop your email, and then send a random image from your camera roll or off your desktop. Yes, this is technically slightly gray hat stuff, and it's not against the rule, but you have a great amount of plausible deniability. You know, I'm sorry, I sent the wrong image. You know what I mean? But what happens is you submit it, and you could do it mobile in the stores or whatever, and within 3 to 5 minutes, you'll get a reply that either says, congratulations, you were approved, in which case you know that was an auto soft gate, or saying that your invoice doesn't meet the criteria, which now you know is in the category of brands that are actually reviewed by humans, and that if you want that brand, then you should go and purchase those 10 units so you can get the invoice to submit it. Now, if you cannot request, all you can do is wait until you can sell it. You could sell those brands on other platforms. Amazon's not the only fish in the sea. Walmart's incredibly more important nowadays than it used to be. But there is one final caveat that I need you guys to understand, and that is that even when you have the correct documents that should be approved by Amazon, it is very likely that once you submit them to Amazon, they will deny you and you will not get approved, and you will have to resubmit it again and again and again and again. You might have to submit it 5, 10, or 20 times before it actually gets approved. And that is just the nature of dealing with Amazon and all of their BS, because they have a huge system that's pretty much out of control. The overseas workers aren't doing their jobs. A lot of stuff is automated. And so if you are not a squeaky wheel, you will not get the grease. So just do not give up. Keep submitting it. Keep choosing, need more help with this issue. And if at any point you start getting auto rejected, meaning when you reply to them, instantly within a minute or so, it says denied, and you know a human didn't look at it, what you want to do is get on the phone, which you can do through your Amazon seller app or from the desktop app, and have them call you. And when you get someone on the phone, make sure they sound competent and their English is good. If not, hang up and repeat until you get a rep that might actually be able to accomplish something, okay? This is very important. You have to play customer service rep roulette to make sure you get someone who actually can get stuff done. When you find that person, you let them know what's happening. You refer them to the case log, which has your files uploaded and attached that you submitted, and you make sure that they inspect those files. And usually, if you're doing your job, they will agree with you and say, yeah, it looks like you got everything you need. Let me go ahead and push this through to the next team for approval. And I don't know exactly what happens, but usually within an hour or so, or by the next morning when you wake up, you will have gotten approved for that brand. So that's what I do. That's what works a lot for a lot of people. And also remember that as you gain more experience on Amazon, they start to open up more brands to you. So there might be brands in the past that you couldn't get approved for that you can get approved for now. If you've somehow made it this far in the video, I just want to say thank you for watching the entire video. And I do want to remind you that if you are someone that needs help, you're looking for a mentor, someone to take you on this Amazon journey, I'm here for you. Please check the link in the description to see if you qualify. Hope this video was helpful. I'll see you guys on the next one.